Hello, and today we'll continue with Sylving. It was tough getting up the following day. The sunlight covers half the bed, but I stayed curled up in the saddle near the edge. The first thing I feel is a thick down pillow that my face has sunken into. I can feel the feathery quills poking through. I have a second pillow next to me, but at some point in the night, it got stuffed into the corner where the bed meets the wall. Mikhail and Agenor told me to stay inside, to trust them to figure out what to do with me. So all I've done these past couple days is mope around the house and avoid the window. Not that I have anywhere to go aside from the cave. And what would I do there? Sleep? I doubt it would be nowhere near as comfortable as this. I spent the last day and a half in the bedroom all by myself, processing my feelings about being stranded here. Aunt Nora's been bringing my meals up to me. I really appreciate him taking care of me while I wallow in this funk. He also brought me fresh twigs and great spice. The first thing I feel is the thick down pillow that my face has sunken into. I can feel the feathery quills poking through. I had a second pillow next to me, but at some point in the night, it got stuffed in the corner where the bed meets the wall. Mikhail and Agenor told me to stay inside, to trust them to figure out what to do with me. So I've done these past couple of days is mope around the house and avoid the windows. Not that I have anywhere to go aside from the cave, and what would I do there? Sleep? I doubt it would be nowhere near as comfortable as this. I spent the last day and a half in the bedroom all by myself, processing my feelings about being stranded here. Aunt Nora's been bringing my meals to me. I really appreciate him taking care of me while I wallow in this funk. He also brought me fresh twigs and ground spices. I was confused at first, but he said they were for keeping my teeth clean. Never thought I'd be chewing on sticks to clean my teeth. I wonder if that's what people back in my world did before the toothbrush was invented. He brought me enough to last for a few days, but I ended up using them all because I kept biting too hard. Controlling the strength of my bites is difficult with how powerful my jaw is now. It felt odd, especially on account of my new pointier teeth, but at least it was something to do, and it helped freshen up my breath. The spices came in a little bowl, and I was told to dunk the twig in there before chewing it. Weird. It tasted minty at first, but not as fresh and cool as normal toothpaste. On top of that was a kind of salty, peppery flavor that will take some getting used to. Ugh. I don't know how I can be so groggy after an entire day of lounging around and doing nothing. I guess I'm just emotionally exhausted. What happened back in the cave still bothers me. What's going on with me? Was I really using magic when I got upset? No matter how many times I think about it, I'm still clueless as to what it really was. It was kind of scary when I felt that pressure throughout my body, but I'm too curious to ignore it. I've tested a few different things carefully just to see if I could make it happen again. I tried imagining small white sparks shooting from my fingertips, like in a movie I saw once. I don't remember what movie it was, but it's the simplest thing I can think of to try and do magic again. I throw my arms toward the ceiling in dramatic fashion, like I'm a wizard casting a spell before chanting the magic words. Abracadabra. Yeah, I knew it wouldn't work. Was worth a shot though. I've been waving my arms around and saddle boxing some made up martial art to get my blood pumping, but nothing so far. I'm kind of glad nothing happened though. It hopefully means I won't blow up the house in my sleep, but I still want to know what that light show was about. Don't really want to be the first human turned lion man to explode in bed. I tried channeling the emotions I had back then: rage, desperation, helplessness. But it didn't hit as hard remembering them as living them. So again, nothing happened since I didn't want to lash out at full power. Maybe that's why I've had no luck at bringing it out. But now, being in full rage mode is the only clue I got on how to activate it. Can't say for certain since I can't get as angry as back then. It's probably best I avoid that feeling while in town in case I lose control again. I'm still tired, but it's gotten too warm to stay in bed. The sunlight moves across the bed, leaving no place for me to avoid it any longer. I could close the shutters or force myself out of bed. I choose the third option and put a blanket over my head. I'm not ready to wake up yet and start living my new life as an overgrown house cat. Damn it, I can't get back to sleep. I give a frustrated grunt, blindly fumbling about for my phone and turning it on. 11:03. It's almost noon already. Must be the middle of rush hour for them. At least I think so. I don't really know what the local time here is. My phone could be off. Heck, the length of their days could be different. There's 19% left on the battery, and I didn't bring a charger with me. Now that there are outlets for a charger anyway. I would be fretting over it dying soon if it wasn't for the fact that it's pretty much useless in this world. Got no signal, no internet, and no chance I could reach anyone I know with it anyway. It's not even useful as a clock, seeing as I don't even know how the days work here. Still, I want to save what little battery is left, just in case I switch my phone back off, but hold on to it. Since I've got nothing to do to keep myself busy with, no browsing or chatting online, I don't know what to do today. I can just lay here and wait, I guess. I think I'm going insane. I fought my way out of bed, taking my blanket with me, as all my clothing has been left scattered across the floor. I shuffled over to the stool in front of the vanity and plopped myself down on it, glancing up at my reflection. Oh wow, I look terrible. I didn't even know lions could look this exhausted. I'd kill for a hot cup of coffee right now. My brain can hardly function without it in the morning. Whoa, what the hell was that? Was that my mouth? Did I seriously just do that? This is really, wow. Can my mouth really open up this wide? I could fit my entire fist in here. My teeth has become dagger-like fangs with smaller pointed incisors between. With teeth like these, I can probably crush bone. Well, I was at least able to bite through that concrete slab of a bread roll the other day, so maybe these are more than just for show. The sound of knocking pulls me out of my little inspection in the mirror. I could see the wolf's muzzle sticking through the door. I heard movement from downstairs, so I assumed you have awoken. May I come in? I feel part of me want to say no, but I also know that's not going to help one bit. Yeah, sure. Good morning, Arwen. Morning. Did you sleep well? Well, as I could. After everything the other day. Why? I wanted to apologize again for all this. Why? It's not like you were the one who stole my stuff and ran off. Yes, well, his lordship has made it clear that he feels terrible for what he's done to you. And I still wanted a chance to set things right with you. We've got a lot of work to do if you're ready to get started. Lord Mikhail and I have devised a plan to help you blend into our society as naturally as can be managed. And I still want the chance to set things right with you. We've got a lot of work to do if you're ready to get started. Lord Mikhail and I have devised a plan to help you blend into our society as naturally as can be managed. So the first items of business are your attire and your background. As I'm sure you've noticed, your garments are quite different from ours. People couldn't help but take notice, not to mention your walk the other day. That's quite impressive. Yeah, don't remind me, but the words of you should die down quickly when when you won't do anything else that piques their interest for you. And lucky for us, the Grand Jack Hunt is just on the horizon, and it always leaves the locals chattering for weeks before and after. So if we can get you walking, talking, and looking like one of us, then I doubt anyone will give you so much as a second glance after the festivities. Our first steps will be to change your wardrobe. The wolf presents a measuring tape made of fabric, looking worn out. He gives an encouraging smile before noticing my clothes spread out on the floor. Are you already undressed beneath the blanket? My clothes are starting to leak. My nose couldn't take it anymore. I was hoping to wash them at least, even if I won't be wearing them again anytime soon. I see. Then I'll get straight to measuring you. You can take off the blanket now. Wait, now? Is there a problem? I need to put on some clothes first. The wolf looks at me with a puzzled look. Why do you need clothes? The measurements won't be accurate unless you undress. I take it that's not something you're comfortable with. It's just awkward getting measured nude. Can I at least wear something? The wolf holds back a chuckle as he smirks, putting the measuring tape away. I see. I didn't think you would be so sorry about being bare. I'll be just outside the door, then call for me when you're ready. Once he's out, I let the blanket slip from my shoulders and toss it back onto the bed. I glanced at my underwear laying on the floor, the sole pair I've been wearing for the past few days. No. I grabbed my pants instead. They don't smell nearly as bad as the other clothing and still covering the more intimate parts. I pull it up my legs, but it stops at the hips where it hits the tail. The base isn't quite above where the belt line ought to be, forcing my legs to sag lower than to my liking. Geez, I keep forgetting that I have a tail now there. When I try to release the waistband, my fingers get stuck, my claws are literally hooked into the fabric and won't come out. With a few shakes, I manage to pull them away, and predictably they tear. I probably shouldn't let these claws stay as they are if this keeps happening. At least it's not as bad as the Swiss cheese that is my cert because of these things. I zip up and fasten the button, but still feel my tail pressing against the waistline. Hopefully Agnor won't be able to see anything. Maybe I should toss on the shirt too, even if it smells terrible. But Agnor doesn't wear a shirt. He didn't seem to think much about me being naked, so I guess it's fine. I'm ready. You can come back in now. I gestured at myself pointedly, looking to Agnor for approval. Is this okay? This is fine. Now that you're comfortable, it shouldn't take long for me to measure you. He leads me to the middle of the room, and I stand up straight while he unrolls the measuring tape, stepping in closer. I'm still amazed by just how tall he is up close. I barely reach to his chest. I'll start at your shoulders, then move down. All you have to do is spread your arms and stand still. Got it. He moves in, his large fingers and thumbs pressing the tape to my shoulders, wrapping around my chest, the length of my torso, thickness of my tail, and so on. His hands hover around my head before I feel the tape on my back. His large hands gingerly follow the shape of my shoulders. More than once he effortlessly tugs a little too hard, putting me off balance. You can hold onto my arms if you're having trouble holding still. I take him up on his offer and place my hands on his upper arms by his biceps. It's an odd sensation clutching his arms. His fur is short, coarse, and thick, but it's no different than the arms of any human, just bigger and hairier. He moves down my chest, following the curve of my waist. He measures the length of my torso and the thickness of the tail. He measures around my waistline and thigh before having me stand straight to get the length from my waist to my ankle. Agnor straightens up, rolling the measuring tape up around one of his fingers. That's it, do it. I'll find clothes that are a bit loose so you can move around comfortably. Your meal is downstairs in the oven. It should still be warm. I hope it's to your liking, Aaron. I'll take my leave, and just to be clear, if anyone comes calling, do not answer the door. What about Mikhail? Lord Mikhail has a key. The two of us are the only ones with keys to the house, so he should be fine. Agnor leaves the door to the hallway open, and I hear him leave the house. I lift my arms stretching in place for a few seconds before letting my whole body relax, then I take a deep breath. Since I'm getting new clothes, I might as well put my current ones in a single pile to get them cleaned later. I pick up everything, even my shoes and satchel, and tuck them into a corner on the floor. As I take another deep breath, my nose picks up a familiar scent that tickles my mind. Something familiar. Butter. Cinnamon. Apple. No way, is that what I think it is? I hurry down to the kitchen, searching till I spot a small black door that I can only assume is an oven. Pulling the oven open, the tantalizing aroma wafts over me, and I take a deep breath. On the smooth clay surface sits a metal plate, and the treasure on top almost makes me feel more at home. It's a whole apple pie, about the size of a small plate. It's about the width of a tea plate, small enough for one person with a golden brown crust. I fetch a fork and knife from the cupboard where Agnor keeps the plates and cutlery and place it all on the table. The pies look warm, so I'm not worried about getting burned when handling it. I take a small slice out and I hold it close to my nose. On the end of the fork, it's moist inside, but it doesn't drip. I had no idea how much I missed the smell. How many years has it been since I last had apple pie? I don't think I've had any since Grandma passed away, back when I was still just a kid. She wasn't an amazing cook, but she was always the best at baking. She knew apple pie was my favorite, so she always prepared one for me whenever we paid a visit. I lean forward in my seat and I dig in. Spreads throughout my body as a flaky, buttery crust breaks apart with the tiniest bit of pressure. The sweetness of the fruit with just a hint of sourness, the toffee-like goo between the chunks, the cinnamon bringing it all together makes for a wholesome experience that soothes my heart. It doesn't taste like how Grandma used to make it, but this is still pretty damn good. Fragments of memories wander through my mind as I continue eating. How me and my sister would play hide and seek in her garden, and the scoldings from Grandma when we made a mess of our stews. And there was that time I went through her closet and wore her clothes and wig to dress up as her. She could not stop laughing in her chair and took pictures with her old Polaroid camera. I was pretty silly back then, but a lot of the strange things I did were for her. I just wanted to make her laugh. I miss her. It isn't long before I polish off the layers of the pie. I put a full stomach and a lingering taste of cinnamon really helping to wake me up. I lean back in my chair and take a moment to relax. It was really good, but I feel like I could still eat some more. I'm snapped back to attention as the door bursts open, Mikhail nearly slamming it behind him as he barges in. Oh, hello. You are awake and out of your bedroom. Splendid. Hi. Yes, good morning. I'm sorry for the delay. This should have all been sorted out yesterday, but I was simply swamped with work. He's full of our energy, but the bags under his eyes tell a different story. He looks outright exhausted. I can see him teetering on the spot. Did he get any sleep last night? I got behind on my paperwork and my older brother gave me such a scolding. So much to do, so many transfers from Vorm and Cowed, Vam and Keld to the document for the hunt. He pulls out the chair across from me, then crashes into it as he takes a seat, not even skipping a beat. Vorm and Cowed are the countries to the south and west of us. Our duchy shares a border with them. He gestures kind of wildly in what I can only assume is a southward or westerly direction. So many more than last year. Usually I can pass the work off to others, but this year? Mikhail? All caught up. After that, I finally had time to fabricate a flawless background for you. He again just kind of sits there, fur bristling with a manic, tired energy. Are you okay? I am fantastic. Yeah. He almost leaped across the table there, now standing over me in strange silence, the corners of his wild grin twitching. To be asked by Sylving about my well-being, what an honor. But let's move forward. I have completed your documentation. He snatches up his satchel and digs out a small scroll, unrolling it on the table. Mostly. When possible, we should use information that is true to life. Okay? Were you always missing a shirt? Wait, that's not important. What's important is to show you this. I wanted to go through it with you. You see, if we blend truths about you into the document, it will make it easier for you to memorize. I see. Sounds like a good idea. So, where should we start? He reaches into his satchel and pulls out a bottle of ink and a quill. He wedges himself to write while pulling the document back to his side of the table. Let us begin with your date of birth. Month and day, please. April 17th. Your kind must use different names for the months. Don't remember me, but I do remember reading the word April in this strange thin book I found during one of my many expeditions. It had detailed illustrations and grids with numbers inside. I had surmised it to be some kind of logbook, but a calendar makes much more sense. Tell me, what season is this April? Spring. Didn't it say it's in the month of bark? And your age? I'm 25. Oh, so you're just a year older than myself, meaning your kind can age. How fascinating. His feathery pen flutters around as he fills in the blanks. Do you perhaps have a mate? A mate. Your lover, a woman to whom you are betrothed, that you are betrothed or are already wed to? No, I'm still single. I haven't even been with a guy in a while. I covered my mouth as I realized what I just said. I don't know yet what they think of same-sex partners in this world, but Mikhail doesn't even flinch, keeping his nose to the paper as he scribbles away. Maybe he didn't hear me say that. And done. He blows over the fresh ink, picking up the paper and scrutinizing his penmanship before offering it to me. You need to let the ink dry first, but this will serve as your official safe conduct. Safe conduct? Yes. The papers that prove you are the papers that prove you are who you proclaim to be. With this, you should have no trouble if anyone asks about your background or if they need identification. I'll be making a copy to register you within our records as well. I did thorough research and decided that the best choice for you is to be from Salenhof. It is a beautiful place that borders the sea with mountains and great vistas. It is in the far northeast, and the village is small. It's distant enough that it won't be suspicious that you don't know all our local customs. A lion couple of moderate status moved there decades ago. People rarely travel there, and little is known about them, which is perfect for us. Almost the same that there isn't much cultivation there, which is why so few live in Salenhof. But that'll help you pretend to be their child after all. He lets out a big yawn as he hands the roll of paper to me. Is there anything you would like to add? So this is my fake ID, just a piece of paper with some text and the wax seal to the right. There's not that much written on it. I guess their registration system's pretty simple. I can only trust that this is enough, but I know nothing about this Salenhof and what it's like. I should probably be prepared if someone asks about it. Could you tell me more about... I nearly dropped the scroll, looking up to see that Mikhail just passed right out on the table, already breathing slowly and peacefully. He must have really struggled to stay awake till now. Can't imagine how much trouble he'd be in if he's caught forging documents. I'm not sure how bad it is to use a family stamp to fake an ID, but it's gotta be pretty serious. Despite the risk, he's still doing it for my sake. For how much he's trying to make up for his mistakes, I should be a little nicer to him from now on. I look at the document again. I'll need to memorize the basics before I go outside again. My name here is Erwin Sonder. My parents are now Bjorn and Anna Sonder. I'm a traveler from Salenhof. I feel bad using someone else's last name, but it's only temporary. I don't plan on doing anything while I'm here, so I hope they don't mind me borrowing it. The seal has attached a little strip of fabric to the document, and there's some sort of symbol on the wax. That must be Mikhail's family crest. It's the only thing that makes this scroll look legit. I hear the door open behind me, and when I look up, I see Aknar enter with a parcel in hand. I wave at him to get his attention, then point at Mikhail while holding a figure to my lips. The wolf gives me a curious look, then notices the unconscious fox. He smirks knowingly, sighing and shaking his head. Closing the door quietly behind him, he leads me back up to the bedroom. Once inside, Agenor closes the door gently. Guess he didn't get much sleep again. He was a bit out of it before he kissed the table. It really looked like he needed to sleep. That's not uncommon for him. Whenever he found a new trinket from your world, he would lock himself away in his study for days at a time, fixated on puzzling it out. His fevered excitement would always leave him exhausted, but I would always make sure he at least remembered to eat. Does he do that often? More often than you would think, trust me. Did the two of you talk about your new background? Yeah, we went through the registration paper he put together. Good, then we're already making progress. He hands me a limp, twine-wrapped. He hands me a limp, twine-wrapped parcel. They had these in stock and were the closest to your measurements. I requested for the finest material for you, so hopefully they should be comfortable. They may be simple, but this is very common clothing for us. And more importantly, it's clean. Thank you, I can't wait to try them on. Boo you do. Cheating you do.
Now she was fine, huh?
He hands me a limp, twine-wrapped parcel. They had these in stock and were the closest to your measurements. I requested for the finest material for you, so he hands me a He hands me a limp, twine-wrapped parcel. They had these in stock and were the closest to your measurements. I requested for the finest material for you, so hopefully they should be comfortable. They may be simple, but this is very common clothing for us. And more importantly, it's clean. Thank you. I can't wait to try them on. And I'll give you your privacy again. I looked down at the parcel and noticed that my claws are already threatening to pierce clean through the clothes inside. Wait, could you help me with something first? Of course. What can I do for you? Carefully putting my bundle of new clothes on the bed, I hold out my hand so Agnar can see the first set of finger knives I've got. I need to clip these claws. Oh, that's. He gives pause, clearing his throat before speaking again. I must apologize. Here a lion requests that sort of thing. Caught me off guard. Felines take great pride in their claws and go to great lengths to maintain their sharpness. Why would you want to cut them? They keep getting stuck to my clothes and tearing holes into them. If I don't trim them down, I'll just end up ruining my new ones too. Don't Sylvings have claws? We don't exactly have claws, we call them nails. They're mostly flat and not sharp at all. Some people grow theirs longer, but even then they're nowhere near as sharp as this. They also crack pretty easily because they're so thin, so most of us prefer to keep them short. That sounds terrifying. I can't imagine what having nails must be like. I can see why you would have trouble getting used to having claws if they're really so different. Agnar steps close, looking a bit curious, and offers a hand. May I see them? I hold a hand out, and he takes a gentle hold of it. He studies the back of it intently before flipping it over and inspecting the pad. He thumbs at the dull backside of one of my claws. It's a strange sensation, but not a painful one. Have you tried retracting them? I could. I'm still figuring out this body. Could you try for me? I'll sort of feel around inside my hand, squeezing the distance of one hand in the others, looking for new things to move. I stretch and flex my fingers, trying to find or trigger any mechanism to deactivate my claws. But I just end up wiggling my fingers around a bit while Agnor analyzes them. He leans in. He leans in a bit closer, still inspecting my hand with a sure hold. His hand practically engulfs mine, being twice the size, his dark patch contrasting my pink ones. His grip moves down a couple of my fingers, giving a squeeze at each knuckle before reaching my palm. The pads are firm and rough on the inside, but I can feel warmth from them when he presses in the middle of my hand. Agenor lets my hand slip from his, breathing out in resignation. If you can't retract them, then I suppose it can't be helped. It's best we cut them down a little, then, at least until you get used to them. Some would see doing this as kind of a shame, though your claws are in pristine condition. Pristine or not, it would be more of a shame if I tore apart my new clothes on the first day. That's true. Besides, who would I even impress? It's not like I know anyone here besides you and Mikhail. I'll take safe claws over pretty ones any day. We'll meet others soon, but point taken. Just don't mention your claws to Lord Mikhail. He'll probably bombard you with questions about why you can't control them and end up studying your paws for hours. Agnor moves to the vanity, searching through his drawers. There should be a set of clippers in here somewhere. While he keeps looking, I feel around the inside of my hand again, seeing if I can retract the claws at all, flexing my fingers open and close. Open. Close. Nope, still poking out. Here we go. He pulls out an odd-looking pair of scissors, then places something small and lumpy on the table. It's decorated with a floral pattern on the side, making it clear that these are likely one of the fancier sets. Please have a seat. He gestures to a stool and I settle in it. How do you usually trim your nails? How do you usually cut them? I mean, nails are pretty simple. I usually just cut them down to the fingertip, leaving a little left at the top. The wolf visibly settles at that, looking like I said something truly gruesome. I like that he has more expressions now. Those facial expressions. It really gives you an idea of what he's thinking. What? I cannot do that to you. Cutting them down to the fingertip is nothing but a way of torture. Does it really sound that bad? I knew he'd think it's unusual, but not to that extent. I guess it would be if someone were to cut their nail all the way into the pink parts. I would be squeamish too if I had to do that. Well, how would you normally do yours, Agnor? Us wolves prefer to keep them sturdy when we sorted them. We don't use our claws to fight. We're not built for more delicate work, so we keep them blunt and rounded. That way, they don't get stuck on things, but are still long enough to keep to help with gripping. That sounds good to me. I can't let these dangerous weapons hurt any more innocent clothing. Then let's go with that. Give me the claws of a wolf. He smirks, holding back a chuckle with a grunt. He drops to one knee on the floor in front of me. His expression focuses as he reaches for my hand. He takes a steady hold of it, my fingers hold securely in place. He leans in for his first cut before pulling the clippers back and glancing up at me. Pay close attention to what I'm doing so you can trim them yourself next time. You need to learn everything you can about taking care of yourself. I sit up straighter to lean over. He moves his hand so that the both of us can get a clear view of it. Resting the blade on my index claw, he snips at an angle on either side of it. He cuts straight across, leaving a clean edge. The snap of the scissor is a bit louder than expected. I could feel it through my bones. It doesn't hurt, but it certainly feels different than cutting my regular nails. His movements are careful and controlled, moving from one claw to the next down the line. Cutting it from my index to my pinky finger, he turns my hand to the other side, taking a careful hold on my thumb's knuckle. Thumb claws are a bit difficult to cut. They're usually sturdier and wider than the others, so be careful when you do this the first few times. I'll try to remember that. My nose twitches as it picks up on something. I didn't notice it before, but there was this scent coming from him, pine and mint, and a kind of earthy aroma. It reminds me of a forest. It honestly suits the masculine image of this big wolf. Being so close, I take the time to have a better look at him while he's focusing intently on my hands. The lighter portions of his fur look so clean and well kept, the darker fur serving to outline his facial features. His brow wrinkled subtly before every clip, his yellow eyes fully focusing on his work. I wonder if he even notices it. The fur around his head is thick, with little tufts pointing out in different places. I look to his sides, his shoulders being many times wider than my own. His chest is broad, with dark brown fur sticking between his white fur and dark chest hair. It's crazy to me how someone who's so big and strong treats me so gently. Look at this here, Owen. He shows me the hand he's just finished with, claws all trimmed. I was so distracted from examining his appearance that I didn't even notice he had switched to my other hand, let alone finished it. You need to be very careful that you don't cut them too short. It's not very easy to see, but inside your claw there's something called the quick. You do not want to cut that. It will sting quite painfully if you do, and it starts about here. For comparison, he puts his own claw next to one of mine, and I see the different hues inside the claw he's pointing at. Do you see the point where the color starts to sift? Don't cut any farther than that. Don't cut near the quick. Got it. He puts the scissors on the dresser, then grabs a rectangular object and presents it to me. It looks like a light brown sponge, but dried up. Now, use this to smooth out the rough edges in your set. What is it? This is a pumice stone. It's a rock that was hewn from a dead volcano, and they can be used to smooth out your claws after a trim. Most people use a sandstone, but this gets better results. I'm sure Lord McKell won't mind if you use it. He demonstrates the filling process on one of his own claws in small yet swift motions. You can slide it across and away, but never towards yourself. It's bad for your claws and can be pretty unpleasant. Here, try it. He offers the stone, which is practically weightless in my palm. I never have thought that a volcanic rock could be used as a nail file. Yeah. My gratitude evaporates from the first stroke. It feels like I'm dragging my nails across the chalkboard. The tingling sensation sends a shiver all the way down my spine into the tip of the tail, puffing the fur out. The wolf gives me an understanding but encouraging look. It's a bit tough the first time. It could take some getting used to. I was afraid he'd say that. I power through the discomfort, rounding each one out until Agnar tells me I can move on to the next level. After all that, my claws are finally dull, and my clothing is now safe. I think for a moment how absurd this all is. Of all the things I could be doing in the whole new world, I'm spending my time getting my nails done. Good, you did well. I examine the claws, the tips all nice and dull. Now I can be sure I won't accidentally sweat my new clothes into confetti. You were quick to trim my claws. How have you done this before? A few times. There were those who had never done it before, so they could. Forget what I said. It was a long time ago. He stays quiet for a moment, not going into further detail. He ca- he eyes his eyes catches the bed. The little squirrel casts his eye. Is that your safe conduct? Huh? Oh yeah. He picks it up and unfurls it. Go ahead and get dressed. I'll be right outside the door, memorizing this. Wham! Must have hit a sore spot. I didn't think something as clipping claws would bring up some bad memories for him. And no, I didn't want to talk about it, so I better not stick my nose in further. Alright, let's try to stay positive and focus on the here and now. Now that the murder mittens are declawed, it's time to finally see what I've got. Unbuttoning my pants, I pull them down and let myself be fully naked. I look down my furry belly, down to my arms, legs, and feline feet. I wonder though. Yeah, this is the censored part. Maybe later. And I wrapped the parcel on the bed, having a look at the new clothes Aunt Nora bought for me. They're all brown or white, folded neatly, with a dark brown belt placed at the top of them all. I pick up the first piece of clothing, being the white underwear. I like my boxers. These aren't very stretchy. At least they're soft though. It uses a drawstring instead of an elastic band, and there's a hole big enough for the tail at the back of it. I slip my legs into them and pull them on. There's some trouble threading the tail through the third hole, but I manage after some maneuvering. Next is the shirt, being an off-white color. Holding it up, it looks to be a couple sizes too big for me. I don't think even my formal shirt back home is this big. The sleeves are wide and the cuff but narrow. The sleeves are wide at the cuff but narrow at the shoulder. The neckline has a triangular neck hole with a string through it. I'm not sure how this will look on me, but I decided to just roll with it and slip it on. Now for the single pair of brown pants, being a little shorter than my blue jeans, but the material feels tougher when holding it. The seam pattern isn't something I've seen before, with the back having a strap with a button. Probably for the tail. I slipped them on one leg at a time, my new lion feet not having as much trouble getting through like with my old pair of pants. I have some trouble affixing the strap over the tail, but I managed it eventually. To thread the belt through the loops of the pants and fasten the buckle. With my new pants on securely, I stretch, lift, and wiggle my legs around to see how everything feels. Alright, that's been the last of it. Now that I'm dressed, it's finally time to look at myself. Oh, well, this computer's slow. It's real slow, yeah. Go back. Hey, I actually don't look half bad. I didn't think the clothes were all that flattering, but it looks pretty good when it's all put together. Looking like this, I'm starting to think I might actually be able to blend in with everyone here. I turn around, taking in how it all looked on me. I think I put it all on right before walking to the door. I pull open the door with Adnor standing right outside, carefully studying my paper. So, did I put them on correctly? Well, look at that. Now you look like a real dyer. How does it feel wearing them? Feels good. These clothes are really comfortable. Thank you for finding them for me. I'm glad they are to your liking. I found the most suitable clothing to be expected of aligning with your build. You'll have no trouble blending in with us. Now that we've resolved the matter of your attire, there are a few things we need to address. He gestures for me to sit, and I plop down onto the bed, Agnar, choosing to sit on the stool so our eyes are somewhat level. We had originally planned for your documents to be finished yesterday, then spend today educating you about our world and history. But with the hunt fast approaching, Mikhail won't have the time to teach you everything you'll need to know. So you're saying I should stay out of sight till it's over? On the contrary, we should get you into the public eye as soon as possible. Agnar holds his chin and thinks, trying to find the right words. I don't know what it's like in your world, but in a small village like this, newcomers don't go unnoticed. Worse still, rumors of old behavior, such as walking around funny in strange clothes, spread quickly. The longer you stay hidden, the more curious they'll become, and the more embellished and outlandish the rumors will get. Which is why we came up with a plan to get people to quickly lose interest in you. Every year the events of the hunt or the talk of the town for months on end. That means if we can feed people's curiosity about you, then local gossip about the hunt will completely overshadow you. But that means getting you as much casual exposure as possible. Nothing kills rumors like the mundane. I will accompany you as you go about town, helping you to walk and talk just like anyone else. You won't need to do or say much at first. I'll be there to field most questions, while also making sure the noisier locals are kept at bay. Whenever Lord Mikhail has time, he'll be teaching you about our history and culture in depth. He was supposed to give you your first lecture this evening about catching up on his duties, but he's clearly in no condition to do so today. Well, why don't you teach me then? If you're my guard, then couldn't I learn it all while we're out and about? That might not be wise. Lord Mikhail is much more educated than I am. I can tell you what I know, but you'll need to know a lot more than me to safely pass as a dyer. So seeing as his lordship is a bit indisposed, I thought I could give you a little tour of the village to help you start getting used to us. We'll visit only a couple of places before returning to the house, introducing you to those closest to me to expand the pack for you. They're good people and are very welcoming to newcomers. I know they'll like you. Getting some fresh air and stretching my legs sounds amazing considering I've been stuck in this room for nearly 2 days straight. Actually walking among them rather than being a public spectacle will certainly be a welcome change. But before we leave, I need you to promise me something. You cannot be seen using magic no matter what. Alright, that. I understand his concern, but I haven't even felt the slightest tingle of magic since we left the cave. Do I have your word? I don't think you have to worry about that. I'm pretty sure it won't be happening again. How can you be so sure? You told me you'd never done magic before. Well, I've had a lot of time to myself, cooped up in here, so I sort of try to do some more magic to pass the time. Well, nothing happened, I swear. That is incredibly reckless, Owen. You should have told me before doing so. What if someone had seen you through the window? No worry, like I said, nothing happened. I couldn't even make a spark. Here, look. I imagine the arcs of white lightning from back in the cave trying to summon that power through my arm before punching the air with all my might. Agnar knocks over the stool as he leaps back into terror, looking like he's about to get blown to bits. But just like all the other times, nothing happens. I'm just left waving my arms around like a weirdo. Agnar scrolls, radiating a feeling of irritation. Do not do that again, Ellen. If people suspect that strange magic is coming from this house, we'll have worse than women to deal with. Sorry, I just wanted to know what's going on with me. First I turned to a lion, and now I can do magic. Wouldn't you be curious if the same happened to you? His shoulders slack a bit as his scowl softens. He gives a grunt of understanding. Like I said, no matter what I did, nothing happened. For all we know, I can only do magic inside the cave. But however it works, it's clearly not something that's just gonna fire off out of nowhere. The only other thing we know is that it happened when I got really, really upset. So unless my life is suddenly going to get even more crazy, we should be fine. So as long as you stay calm, you're quite confident that this power is under control. As far as I can tell, yeah. Then I will do my best to make sure that your temper doesn't get the best of you. I don't know much about magic or sylvan powers, but I trust that you will keep this under control. There's that word again. I know a Sylving is someone from my world, but it feels like there's a lot more weight and history behind that word than I've been told. It's hard to believe I'm one myself. It makes me feel like I'm from a race of elves being regarded as horrid beings due to possessing some sort of power. That people from my world did something in the past, something so serious that it'd be dangerous if people find out what I am. I tug on my sleeve and look up at the wolf. Hey Agnar, is it really a death sentence if someone finds out I'm a Sylvan? Agnar looks a bit surprised and apologetic. No, of course not. Probably. That doesn't sound too reassuring. I'm not sure what will happen. It's been centuries since the word of Sylving has been heard in these lands. The wolf scratches his head, carefully considering how to answer. Tell me, if I were to go to your world, would I be executed for being a wolf? I don't really know, actually. Nobody in my world has ever seen a wolf man before. Well, why have that on my mind? I think he may have been executed, depending on the country here on Earth. Some countries might have. Some countries may not. I mean, if they see you as intelligent, then they may decide to talk to you like a regular human. If they can tell that you're just as intelligent as they are as humans. So, I guess it depends on what part of Earth Agnar ends up in. Some countries, yeah. Some other countries, probably not. Now this world here, it seemed that Agnar wasn't all that sure if people would execute a Sylvan or not, but apparently the Sylvans have done something in the past that made people in this world kind of scared or suspicious, I guess. I don't know what it was, but anyway. It may be dangerous for Arwen if he reveals that he's a Sylvan. We just have no idea how people will react. But anyway. I don't really know, actually. Nobody in my world has ever seen a wolfman before, or, well, any kind of a person from this world. Unless I'm counting myths and movies about werewolves going about and tearing people apart, those usually end up those usually end with the werewolf getting hunted down and shot instead of whatever else finishes him off. But I should probably keep that tidbit to myself. Of course, Atnor isn't some mindless monster, but there is still no way to know how people would react to him just showing up out of the blue. It would be impossible to expect everyone to be calm and casual about that. I guess it would be very mixed, good and bad, mostly because nobody would know how to react. That's kind of like how I'm thinking. It could be good and bad, and depending on what part of Earth he ends up in, then you understand the unpredictability of it. While it's not a crime for you to be a Sylving, it's not so long since one has been seen or heard. But it's been. You know, then you understand the unpredictability of it. While it's not a crime for you to be a Sylving, it's been so long since one has been seen or heard, there's no telling how people would react. News of a living Sylving would spread like wildfire, and even if there are people here who will accept you, there's no way of knowing how the rest of the kingdom would react. Lord Mikhail will also be put in danger, as I said before. What he's been doing is strictly forbidden, and I doubt even his father can save his neck if someone discovers his involvement in you being here, especially if they discovered he'd been using a witch's relic. You mentioned it being important that nobody find out about Mikhail's cloak. Are witches' relics really that big of a deal? There are a lot of people still suffering to this day because of evil witches in the past. Even if his lordship was using it to help people, merely owning one can have him get executed. But it was the only way he could travel to your world to search for a way to find a way to reverse it. With that in mind, it's best that you never even mention witches, relics, or Sylvings to anyone. And if someone brings them up, just change the subject or leave. That was a lot to take in. I have so many questions about everything he just said. But I don't think I can handle much more pressure. I don't mean to scare you, but you need to watch your tongue out there, even when talking to those close to me. I want you to fit in and lead a normal life while you're here. To do so, we have to avoid drawing any unnecessary attention to ourselves. The weight of those words sit heavily on my shoulders. I understand how important it is that I don't talk about witches, myself, and human stuff. I understand. I won't tell anyone, I promise. Thank you, Arwen. I appreciate you taking this to heart. Agnor hands the scroll back to me. I read and memorized. Your safe conduct is vague enough as far as background goes, but people might ask what it's like in the Salenhof. Did his lordship describe it what's it's like to you before he fell asleep? Mikhail, not really. We only got through the name and birthday. I'll ask him to cover it in your lessons then. For now, when someone asks you a question you don't have an answer to, turn to me. I can either answer for you or pull you from the conversation. If you're by yourself, you can make an excuse like you're still too weary from your fever to answer, or you can try to keep it vague. But whatever you do, never make unnecessary lies. A vague truth is still truth. A lie can be picked at until it fails. A vague truth is still truth. A lie can be picked at until it falls apart. And always remember that just because someone asks a question doesn't mean you have to answer. You especially shouldn't feel pressure to give a response about something personal. This is why I want you to come with me today. Lessons are all well and good, but first-hand experience is better. We need to help you adjust quickly while we can still use your recent illness as an excuse. Are you confident enough on your feet to walk with me? I've got butterflies in my stomach, but I don't want to stay inside another day, even after the serious talk we had and the stage we faced. I finally have the nerve to show my face outside again. Going for a walk and meeting some of his friends is a good place to start. Maybe it won't be so intimidating once I get out there. Sure, it actually sounds really nice. I promise to not cause any trouble. Good. Then before we depart, I just want to make sure you have your story straight. Remember, you're Aaron Sonder now. You're a traveler, and it's your first time outside of Silent Half. You were found ill on the road and were taken in by Lord Mikhail from the Vescogan family, and I have been assigned as your personal guard. I echo Agnor's words back to him, word for word. I repeated a few times to commit it to memory. Good. You're ready to come outside with me. Finally, there's a lot for me to keep in mind, but I'm just excited to see what it's like downtown. Well, we'll be stopping at the inn. Another owner there. Well, it's actually his meals I've given you. So we're not gonna see the whole town today. Show me everything that this place has to offer. I know he already mentioned keeping it simple, but now I'm getting more curiosity to explore this place. Heh, take it slow, Aaron. I must see how you hold up first. Come, let's make our way to the inn. And there's Mikhail there. He's one hard-working fox, though. Given that. We head downstairs and slip past Mikhail. Agnor makes the wooden floor creak by his weight, but the fox keeps snoring soundly. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have been able to wake him up if we tried. Okay, we're in town now, so we're gonna stop right here. This computer's a little slow here. Yeah, this computer's been slow for a while now. So anyway, we'll continue with Sylving next time. So apparently it's forbidden to use magic, and that it could get you executed, especially with the talking about the evil witch, that is forbidden also. And at the very start of the story, we see the evil witch. Well, I think that's what they call her, the evil witch, and certainly she has a part in this, because it's because of her that Aaron is in this situation. So hopefully Aaron will keep his emotions in check and not freak out and use his magic. So if he wants to survive, he's gonna have to play his part. Just have to go by his new identity and keep himself under control, his emotions. So it's pretty fun seeing Agnor help everyone out with measuring himself and his clothes. And Agnor seemed to think that Aaron's, he did not want Aunt Nor to see him naked, so that kind of made Aunt Nor laugh. So I guess people here in this society, or at least as far as Aunt Nor, at least he does not really see nudity all that as being that big of a deal, because he's pretty much naked himself. He wears pants, but he's half naked all the time. So I guess people in this world, at least in this town, don't see nudity to be all that big of a deal. Alright, so we'll continue with Sylving next time. So thank you all very much for watching. And one more thing, I know that there hasn't really been much of a change to the story, but I think either in the next video or the video afterwards, you'll see a big difference in the story concerning the bunny. Because in the original story, the bunny we met was working his father's bakery, but in this new version of the story, he's a blacksmith. So the main change in the story is the bunny's profession. So you'll get to see that either next time or in the video after the next. So stay tuned to that. So that's all. Thank you all very much for watching. Goodbye.